Welcome children. Now we are going to see 9th Mathematics, Chapter 8, Quadrilateral, Part 4. So here we are going to see midpoint theorem. Midpoint theorem, a new theorem introduced for you. Before knowing this theorem, we should have the prior knowledge about parallelogram. Just recall. Okay. The last theorem of that previous exercise, we saw that one theorem, that is in this, you see the parallelogram, you know the property, opposite sides, two pairs of opposite sides are there, so they are parallel and equal. Okay. And now the theorem says if a pair of opposite sides of a quadrilateral is equal and parallel, then we can say that quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay. So that is the sufficient condition. We can say if a pair, that means top and bottom one pair of opposite sides, this left and right another pair of opposite sides. So you consider this as a quadrilateral. So in a quadrilateral, if a pair means one pair of opposite sides are equal and parallel, then we can say that quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Okay children. So using this concept here, the midpoint theorem, we are going to prove it. Let us see how to do that. So the midpoint theorem, it says the definition, the line segment, that is the statement. Midpoint theorem statement. The line segment joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side. You know, in a triangle, how many sides? Three sides are there. So out of these three sides, any two sides we have to take. For example, you take this side and this is the midpoint and this is the midpoint of the another side. We join it. Okay. If we join the two midpoints of the two sides respectively, then you consider this as the third side. For example, A, B, C. So AB, the midpoint is E. AC, the midpoint is F. So E is the midpoint of AB. F is the midpoint of AC. And if we join these two midpoints, then that is called a line segment. Okay. So line segment joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side, means third side is, this is the third side, BC. Okay. So we have to say EF is parallel to BC. So that is what the meaning of the statement. Okay. So again you just repeat the statement. The line segment joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side. That is the statement. So let us consider this diagram and you take the given part, that is in triangle ABC. You see ABC is the triangle. E and F are the midpoints of AB, AC respectively. To prove EF parallel to BC, EF is the line segment joining the midpoints of these two sides. And you have to say EF is parallel to the third side, that is BC. So construction. So how to do? How to prove it? So construction. What's the construction part? First of all, ABC is a triangle. And now, from here, C, you have to draw a line which is parallel to BA. That means you can put like this. So, the arrow mark represents parallel line. Clear? So BA is one of the sides. So you have to draw a line through C which is parallel to BA. So if you draw like this, okay, you take it as CD. That is the line which is parallel to BA. So only I have written draw CD parallel to BA to meet EF produced at D. Okay, EF means this is already the line segment. So you have to produce this. Extend. Produce means you have to extend. Then this extension and CD that will meet at D. So this is the construction. Okay. So now coming to the proof part, we have to say EF is parallel to BC. For that only the construction we need. Okay. So coming to the proof one, in this triangle ABC, you see AEF is one triangle and this is CDF is the another triangle. You see outside this ABC, another triangle we are getting after the construction. Okay. So first of all you have to say this BCDE. You see BCDE, a four-side figure. So that is a quadrilateral. We have to say that it is the parallelogram. Then ED parallel to BC, and so we have to say EF, easily can say EF parallel to BC. So that's what's our proof. Okay. So for that we have to say these two triangles congruent triangles. Then only by CPCT we can take the corresponding needed parts. Okay. For that we have to say this now E midpoint means AE, BE both are equal. E midpoint means BE and EA both are equal, and F midpoint means this AF and this CF both are equal, because already we have said that E and F are the midpoints of AB and AC. Okay. And then you see these are the what? Vertically opposite angles that equal. So what are the things you can take? I am saying. And this angle you mark it as 1 and this angle you mark it as 2. So 1 and 2 we can say they are alternate interior angles and they are equal. You know why? You consider this BA and CD are the two parallel lines, because by construction we have already told that BA is parallel to CD. That like that only we are constructing. So BA parallel to CD means, and you consider ED as a transversal, then we can have this angle 1 and angle 2 or the alternate interior angles which will be equal. Clear? So these are the concepts, lines and angle concept, and then the congruent triangle concept. So always useful to prove it. Okay. So in the proof part I am taking in triangle AEF and triangle CDF. Finally we can easily come to know why we are going to prove these two triangles as congruent triangles. So in these two triangles I am taking these two angles are vertically opposite angles, so we can name it as 3, 4. Angle 3, angle 4. Angle 3 equal to angle 4, that is VOA. That means in cap I am writing VOA, that is nothing but vertically opposite angles. And 1 equal to 2, that is nothing but alternate angles. Already I told you how we are getting that alternate angles. So which are the parallel lines and which is the transversal you have to consider, and 1 and 2 are the alternate angles. They are equal. Since the lines are parallel, then the alternate angle should be equal. And one more thing, AC, F is the midpoint. In AC, F is the midpoint. So AF, a side of AEF triangle, and CF is a side of CDF triangle. Am I right? So we can easily have that AF equal to CF. F is the midpoint. The reason F is the midpoint of AC. So we can have it. So two pair of angles on one pair of side. So therefore triangle AEF is congruent to triangle CDF. And we can write the rule AAF, angle, side, congruent criteria. By that we can say these two triangles are congruent. Why we are proving that these two triangles are congruent means, then only we can have this EF and FD are equal. This implies EF is equal to FD, the reason CPCD. Because EF is one of the side of triangle AEF and FD is side of a triangle CDF. So by simplicity we can have it. Okay. And then, so this means what? Then F will act as the midpoint of ED. Clear? And you name it this as equation number 1, which will be useful in future. Okay. The next step, the proceeding step, it will be helpful. And now we can have AE and CD. AE at side of AEF, CD side of CDF. Okay. So easily we can have that. So AE is equal to CD. This is also the reason CT. Okay. AE equal to CD. But AE is equal to BE. Okay. E is the midpoint. The reason E is the midpoint of AB. Since E is the midpoint of AB, already we have AE equal to BE. So that's what I am writing here. So with these two equations, this implies we can have BE is equal to CD. Am I right? BE, CD comes equal now. So BE and CD equal. Already BE is parallel to CD. Am I right? BE, this BA parallel means BE is within BA. So this BA parallel to CD and BE also parallel to CD. Also BE is parallel to CD. The reason BA parallel to CD. This is the reason. BA parallel to CD. So therefore BE also parallel to CD. So now we have BE and CD are both parallel and equal. Therefore, by the theorem, just now I explained the theorem. So with that, we can say this quadrilateral BCDE is a parallelogram. In quadrilateral BCDE, pair of opposite sides are equal. Hence, BCDE. Okay, BCDE is a parallelogram. Clear? BCDE is now we proved it is a parallelogram. So just by taking these two triangles, we proved this quadrilateral BCDE is a parallelogram. So after proving that BCDE is a parallelogram, you see, okay, ED also parallel to BC. This implies ED parallel to BC. Because BCD is a parallelogram, therefore we know that in a parallelogram opposites are parallel and equal. So now we take ED parallel to BC. This implies, you see, EF is in ED. So we can say EF parallel to BC. Clear? EF parallel to BC. That's what we have proved it. Because ED parallel to BC, but EF is within ED, so EF also definitely is parallel to BC. So we have proved, this is the to prove. Okay. So we have proved that EF is parallel to BC. So this is the midpoint theorem, very easy one. And note you have to give. So now, after proving this theorem, we can get one more notable point, that is, you see, now we have proved that EF parallel to BC, and one more thing, since BCDE is a parallelogram, ED is equal to BC. ED is parallel to BC and also ED is equal to BC. So I am taking, since BCDE is a parallelogram, ED is equal to BC. Clear? And this implies EF is equal to half of 1 by 2 means half. So half of ED. Okay? Because F acts as midpoint. Thus by equation 1, now we are going to use this because already we have proved EF is equal to FD by CPCT. Okay, EF equal to FD. Therefore, if EF is equal to FD means, then we can write EF is equal to half of the total ED. So EF is equal to half of ED, the reason by equation 1. And this implies the same EF is equal to half of same 1 by 2 we have to put. And for ED, just we write BC because ED is equal to BC. So instead of ED, we put BC. So from this, the conclusion we can give that the line segment joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side and is half of it. That means what? This here, this is the line segment joining the midpoints of the two sides of the triangle ABC. So the EF is parallel to the third side BC and also EF is half of BC. Okay, so that's the additional point from this theorem. The midpoint theorem is finished up to this. Okay, but one more point we can get from this, that is the EF is half of the third side BC. That's all, and we will move to the converse one. Okay. So now, listen children, the next theorem is converse of midpoint theorem. So converse means nothing, just like reverse one. Okay. In first one, midpoint theorem, first we have proved two triangles congruent, and then we proved that that quadrilateral BCDE is the parallelogram, and then the proof part we have done it. But now here, in the reverse way, that is converse of midpoint theorem. What it says? The line drawn through the midpoint of one side of a triangle, that means we take here ABC, a triangle, AB is one side and E is the midpoint of AB. Through this midpoint E, draw a line L, a small L. Okay, just we name it, small L is the line through E which is parallel to the side BC, another side BC. Then this line bisect the third side. Now the third side is AC. Clear? That means here it meets at A. And we have to say AF equal to CF. That means that line L bisect the third side. If it bisects, then we have AF equal to CF. Am I right? So given in triangle ABC, E is the midpoint of AB and a line L is passing through E and is parallel to BC. Parallel to BC, that is what given. Then we have to prove, then the line L bisects the third side AC, which means AF equal to CF. Clear? AC is the third side. If the line bisects AC, then AF is equal to CF. So that is what we have to prove. For that construction, draw a line through C parallel to BA, the same construction, to meet the line L. Now the line L we have to take at D. Okay. So CD parallel to BA, then it will meet this line L at D, like that we can tell. So this is a construction. Proof. To get AF equal to CF, we have to say these two triangles AEF and CDF are congruent triangles. Then only we can say by CPCT AF equal to CF. For that we need three elements. That means three corresponding pair of sides or any three angles like that. Pair of angles or a corresponding pair of sides. Like that we need at least three to say the two triangles are congruent. So for that, you see, 1 and 2 already alternate interior, that one we have one pair of corresponding angles equal. 3 and 4 already we know that they are vertically opposite angles. So 2 pair of angles we have. But any more? Another pair we cannot say that we know. Okay, 3 and corresponding angles, if they are equal means we cannot say they are congruent. So one more side we need. Which one we can take? You see, AE, BE, they will be equal because E is the midpoint. But in this triangle, if you take AE, but what about the side of CDF? AE is not equal to CD. Okay, because we didn't say like that. So AF, CF means we have to prove that AF equal to CF. So no way. So for that, we have to say AE, CD equal. Then we can get one pair of sides of the two triangles are equal. Then by AAS rule, the two triangles are congruent, like that we can say. For that, the prior thing is we have to say BCDE is a parallelogram. The reverse way. In the midpoint theorem, finally we say BCD is a parallelogram. But here, first we have to say BCD is a parallelogram and then the two triangles are congruent and then we come to this. Clear? So now, we say ED is parallel to BC. Why? Because the line L passing through E parallel to BC. Okay, it is given in the statement itself. So we can have that the line L is parallel, is drawn parallel to BC. Okay, so EB parallel to BC, EB parallel to BC. Also, you see, BA is parallel to CD. CD by construction. The reason by construction we have said that BA parallel to CD. This implies BE is parallel to CD. You can write BE parallel to CD. Now you look, ED parallel to BC, ED, BC, they are parallel, and BE, CD are parallel. That means what? In a quadrilateral BCDE, two pairs of opposite sides parallel. Or parallel. So we can easily say, therefore, BCDE is a parallelogram. Yes? Since two pairs of opposite sides are parallel, then we can say that quadrilateral is a parallelogram. So after saying that, easily we can have BE is equal to CD. This implies BE equal to CD because that is a parallelogram. Opposite sides of parallelogram are equal. And BE is equal to AE. AE or EA, anything. EA. E is the midpoint of AB. So this is the reason for saying BE equal to EA. So now we can have CD and EA are equal. This implies, you see, CD or EA equal to CD, like that we can put. EA equal to CD. From these two equations we can say the right hand sides are equal. So EA equal to CD. EA is equal to CD. And now coming to the two triangles. In, you say this is 1. Okay. We proved that EA is equal to CD. Now, in the triangle AEF and CDF. We have EA equal to CD. Proved in equation 1. And then angle 1 equal to angle 2. That you know, alternate angles. And then angle 3 and 4, vertically opposite angles. For that we can write simply VO, vertically opposite angles. So two pair of angles and one pair of sides are equal. So we can easily say, therefore triangle AEF is congruent to triangle CDF. The reason is by AAS congruence rule. By this congruence rule we can say triangle AEF is congruent to triangle CDF. After saying that, easily we can say this implies AF from AEF triangle, CF from CDF triangle are equal to CF, CPCT the reason. Corresponding parts of congruent triangle we can say AF equal to CF. That's all the proof. So this is the converse of midpoint theorem. And now let us move to the exercise 8.2. So now exercise 8.2, first sum. It is given that ABCD is a quadrilateral. P, Q, R and S are the midpoints of corresponding sides, that is AB, BC, CD and DA respectively. AC is the diagonal and I joined it in the dotted line. And we have to prove all these three options. The first one, SR parallel to AC and SR is half of AC. It shows that it is the like midpoint theorem result. Okay. So by using the midpoint theorem we can say that. So option 1. So here you take the triangle DAC. In triangle DAC, F and F is the midpoint of AD and R is midpoint of DC. By midpoint theorem, now we can apply midpoint theorem. By midpoint theorem, in a triangle, if two midpoints are joined of two sides, then that will be parallel to the third side, that is here AC. Okay, so we can say SR is equal to what? SR is parallel to AC and SR is equal to half of AC. Clear? You can have as equation number 1 or leave it. From option 1 also we can take that. Okay. So in option 1 we have proved that SR is parallel to AC and SR is half of AC. And coming to option 2, so it is that PQ equal to SR. So for that we have to say about PQ and SR. So you take ABC triangle. In triangle ABC, PQ. P is the midpoint of AB and Q is the midpoint of BC. BC. By midpoint theorem, we can say that PQ, the line segment joining the midpoints of two sides of triangle ABC, that is PQ, will be parallel to the third side AC and is half of it. So we can have that PQ is parallel to AC and PQ is half of AC. Clear? Here SR is half of AC. In option 2, PQ is half of AC. You can name it. Now 1 and this apps 2. From 1 and 2, equation 1 and equation 2, we can say that right hand side is equal, so left hand side also equal. PQ equal to SR. That's what the proof. PQ equal to SR, and now we proved it. And now coming to third option. You see, we have to say PQRS is a parallelogram. In option 1, we have proved that SR is parallel to AC. From 1, SR parallel to AC. From 2, PQ is parallel to AC. You see, from option 1, we proved that SR is parallel to AC. From option 2, we proved PQ is parallel to AC. So therefore, you see, like equation, we can say SR, PQ parallel. This implies PQ is parallel to SR. Clear? PQ parallel to SR. Like that we can easily say. And PQ is equal to SR. You see, you take this as equation number 3 by 3. So by equation 3, we can say PQ equal to SR. Already we proved it. Okay. So PQ parallel to SR and PQ equal to SR. That means what? In a quadrilateral, any four-side figure is a quadrilateral. So in a quadrilateral, a pair of quadrilateral name we can give. In the quadrilateral PQRS, a pair of opposite sides. Side is equal and also parallel. In a quadrilateral PQRS, we proved that PQ parallel to SR and also PQ equal to SR. So we can say by the theorem that is PQRS is a parallelogram. This implies PQRS is a parallelogram. That's the proof. So now coming to question number 2. It is given that ABCD is a rhombus. P, Q, R and S are the midpoints of each side. Okay, ABCD is a rhombus and P is a midpoint of AP, Q is the midpoint of BC, R is the midpoint of CD and S is the midpoint of AD. So that is what given here. And we have to prove that PQ are the quadrilateral formed after joining the midpoints of all the sides of given rhombus. PQRS is a rectangle. We have to say that PQRS quadrilateral is a rectangle. So how to say? To say a quadrilateral is a rectangle, we need opposite sides are equal and one angle 90 degree. If one angle 90 degree, then the remaining all 90 degree only. So the necessity is we have to say in PQRS opposite sides are equal and one angle is 90 degree. Then we can say PQRS is a rectangle. Clear? And coming the construction, you have to join the diagonals AC and BD. And you know, in rhombus, the diagonals bisect at at right angles. But they are not equal, but the diagonals bisect at right angles. Clear? So, you know what is bisect at right angle. Now, coming to the proof part. First of all, I am trying to say PQRS is a what? Parallelogram. Okay. For that, we have to say the opposites are parallel. For example, we take the two triangles BPQ. So, in triangle BPQ and triangle DRS. Okay, we just prove it, they are congruent. You see, first in BPQ is a BQ is equal to DS. Half of the sides of rhombus. Halves of the sides of rhombus are equal. That means what? You know the properties of rhombus. All the quadrilateral you know, but rhombus means all sides are equal in measure. So half of every side is equal only. So what is BQ? It is half of BC. And what is DS? It is half of AD. So they are also equal. So half, HALVES, half of, this is V, okay? Half of sides of rhombus. So they are equal. And again, from this BPQ we can take BP. And here we can take a DR. This is also the same reason, half of sides of rhombus, because they are equal. And now, angle PBQ is equal to angle RDS. You know why? Already it is given that ABCD is a rhombus. So in rhombus, you know, opposite angles are equal. So in this triangle, PBQ is nothing but this angle. Okay, this angle is nothing but one angle of rhombus, that is angle B. Considering rhombus, angle B, that is PBQ here, and RDS means this angle. So they are equal. Opposite angles of rhombus are equal. But you know, so we are taking that. So here two pairs of corresponding sides and one pair of that angles are equal. So this is nothing but side angle side. Therefore, triangle BPQ is congruent to triangle DRS. The reason SAS congruent rule. Side angle side. So after proving that these two triangles are congruent, we can say PQ equal to SR. This implies PQ, one of the side of triangle PDQ, first, and then SR is the side of DRS. So we can say PQ SR of equal by CPCT. By CPCT we can say that. Similarly, we can say by taking these two triangles, which similarly, this symbol says that similarly. The three vertical line says that it's similar. LY means similarly. Similarly, in triangle, you see APS, okay, and triangle QCR. We can say PS equal to QR. PS QR. Similarly means we have to take these two triangles the same way. We have to prove that they are congruent, and then by CPCT we can say PS is equal to QR. And then now that in PQRS we have proved that the opposite sides are equal. Okay, and now we have to say that they are parallel. How to do that is by using the midpoint theorem. So in triangle ABC. Take ABC in triangle ABC. P and Q are the midpoints of the two sides. Okay. P is the midpoint of AB and Q is the midpoint of BC. By midpoint theorem, we can say PQ is parallel to AC. It is clear? Midpoint theorem says that if a line segment joining the midpoints of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side, that is AC. So PQ is parallel to AC. Similarly, in words if you write like this is similarly, and here in word similarly, that is symbolically and this in word. Similarly, we can say in triangle BCD, ABC, now we can say ADC. ADC by midpoint theorem, what we can say, ADC. In this, S and R are the midpoint, so S are parallel to AC. S are parallel to AC. So, through this we can say, this implies PQ is parallel to SR. Is it clear? PQ parallel to SR. So now, again proceeding in same way, we take triangle ABD. Also, in triangle ABD, by midpoint theorem, we can say that in triangle ABD, P and S are the midpoints of AB and AD. So, if you join PS, then that line segment PS will be parallel to the third side, that is BD. So, you can say that PS parallel to BD, and in triangle BCD, by applying the same midpoint theorem, we can say this QR is parallel to BD. This implies PS is parallel to QR. PS is parallel to QR. See, PS parallel to BD and QR is parallel to the same BD. Therefore, we can take PS is parallel to QR. So now we got PQ is parallel to SR and PS is parallel to QR. So now in quadrilateral PQRS, the opposite sides are parallel. Already we have proved PQ is equal to SR and PS is equal to QR. So now by observing all these, hence the two pairs of opposite sides of the quadrilateral P, Q or S are equal and parallel, we can say P, Q or S is a parallelogram. Clear? So now we have proved that PQRS is a parallelogram. So coming to the point, we have to say PQRS is a rectangle. So when a parallelogram becomes rectangle, if any one angle is equal to 90 degree, then that parallelogram becomes rectangle. So for that, we try to say this any in PQRS any one angle 90. For that, I am taking, you see, OMQN. OMQN. So here MQ is parallel to ON and OM is parallel to NQ. We have MQ parallel to ON. You know why? Why you are taking MQ parallel to ON? Because PQ is parallel to AC. We already proved where, see, PQ parallel to AC, already we proved. So, in PQ only MQ is there. In AC only ON is there. Therefore, MQ parallel to ON. Understand? And now coming to the next, OMQN. I already named it. Okay. OMNQ like that. And OMNQ. OM is parallel to NQ. You see, OM is here and NQ is here. So how we can say they are parallel? OM is in BD and NQ is in that is QR. Okay. So QR parallel to BD. You see where we have proved it? QR parallel to BD. So easily we can say, through that we can say what? OM is also parallel to NQ. So now we come to the conclusion, OMQN is a parallelogram. This implies OMQN is a parallelogram. Clear? Now we got OMQN. OMQN is a parallelogram. You know, that's the reason if a pair of opposite sides are parallel, not one pair, two pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So we can tell that OMQN is a parallelogram. So after saying parallelogram, you know that opposite angles of parallelogram are equal. That you know. Okay. Now we come to this side. After finishing, OMNQ is a parallelogram. Now we are moving this side, that is, okay. In this OMNQ, angle MON is equal to angle MQN, because opposite angles of parallelogram. Because OMQN is a parallelogram, so opposite angles are equal. Which angle? This one and this one. You see, angle MON is 90 degree, but you know why? The reason is, in rhombus, diagonal bisect at right angle. That is a property. That's why I told you to learn all the properties of the quadrilaterals. In rhombus, diagonals bisect at right angle. AC and BD are the diagonals, so they bisect at right angle means this will be 90 degree. So MON 90 degree. Therefore, MQN is also 90 degree. This implies MQN is equal to 90 degree. MQN we can write it as PQR, but the same angle only. That implies PQR is equal to 90 degree. So PQR, MQN both are same. So PQR is one angle of the parallelogram PQR. Right? So in the quadrilateral now the parallelogram. Already we have proved that PQR is the parallelogram. So in the parallelogram PQRS, the opposite sides are equal. What? You see, already we have proved it, but I rubbed there. Okay, PQ equal to SR and PS equal to QR. Already we have proved that. I already rubbed that. So you take this. PQ equal to SR and PS equal to QR on one angle. And one angle, that is angle Q. PQR is nothing but angle Q is equal to 90 degree. Hence, PQRS is a rectangle. Easily we can say PQRS is a rectangle. That's all. So like that, we have to do question number 3. So it is given that ABCD is a rectangle. Okay. After finishing this, you come to here. Okay. From here you have to start and you finish it. Okay. From here you have to start and finish it to this. So this is the proof of the question number 2. And 3, it is given that a rectangle ABCD. I will explain you. Okay. Wait. You see, in question number 3, it is given that ABCD is a rectangle. Okay. ABCD is a rectangle and PQRS are the midpoints of sides AB. So PQRS, and you have to join. Clear? All the midpoints of the rectangle you have to join. So this is PQRS. PQRS. These are the midpoints of the sides of rectangle. And if we join, then we get a quadrilateral. So that quadrilateral PQRS is a rhombus. We have to say that quadrilateral PQRS is a rhombus. So how should say that PQRS is a rhombus? For that we have to proceed as I explained in question number 2. With that idea, we have to say PQRS is a rhombus. So to say that PQRS is a rhombus, we need all the sides. PQ is equal to QR is equal to RS is equal to PS. If you prove all the sides in the quadrilateral PQRS are equal, then you can say PQRS is a rhombus. Okay. For that you have to use that construction. Okay. You think. I will give that clue. You just join the diagonal. Okay. You join the diagonal. You have to join the diagonals and you apply the midpoint theorem. We can easily say that PQRS is a rhombus. You try it as a homework. And few sums I will give you for worksheet and you have to practice that. Okay. Thank you, children. And the remaining 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 problems are there. I will teach you in the next class. Thank you.